Hello and welcome to Rainbow Stars channel, and today I'm going to give you guys an update on how things have been going with the pregnancy. I am currently 32 weeks pregnant. My baby is above average in size. He weighs about 5 pounds at this stage, yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm sorry about the filler noises. It's just difficult to think properly. It's been hard to sleep for the past month. I started itching whenever I was 29 weeks pregnant, and the itchiness got to the point where all I could do was scratch and scratch and scratch and scratch until it drove me absolutely crazy and bonkers. Finally, I mentioned it to somebody because I said, this isn't normal. Being a little bit itchy is one thing. On the belly, maybe, or the chest area where everything's expanding, that would make sense. But I was itching on my hands and my feet. So I was like, this is kind of weird. And it went from hands and feet to just all over my whole body. Couldn't figure it out for the life of me. So I went and talked to my doctor about it. And she said, well, the symptoms, this is after the hospital visit. So I went to the hospital about this first because I didn't know what was going wrong or what was up with me. So they did some exams. Everything came back fine. I took another test with my doctor, another bile test. They found bile in my bloodstream. So they diagnosed me with cholestasis and prescribed me medication to help with my symptoms. So I've been on the medication for about, let's say, 4 days, and already I see an improvement in my scratching. I'm not scratching at night profusely. I don't have to use cold compresses all over my body. Or I tried everything from shea butter to oatmeal baths to just about everything possible. I even took Benadryl for days and days and days. Nothing cured the itching. It was like hell on earth for me. So I still have breakthrough itching, obviously. I'm not cured. It helps my symptoms. It doesn't cure me, the medication. And it's been determined that because of my cholestasis, baby boy has to come out early. So I will be induced at 37 weeks. Not something I was really looking forward to because I'm such a high-risk candidate with a lot of things that could possibly go wrong. I wanted to do a natural birth if I could without any intervention, but it turns out it's not going to be that way. Baby boy can't stay in there the entire term because of my cholestasis. It can effectively... Now, what is cholestasis? Basically it's a complication that happens with the liver enzymes and the bile from the gallbladder. So your liver is supposed to filter the bile from the gallbladder as, you're digesting food. Well, what happens with cholestasis is that for one reason or another, either the liver or the gallbladder or both are malfunctioning, releasing bile into the blood, and the liver can't keep up. Can't manage to keep up with the supply and demand, can't filter it all, ends up in the bloodstream, makes me miserable, and can be potentially dangerous for baby boy. It can lead to stillbirths with children, and that's why we're not leaving him in there for the entirety of the pregnancy. That's why they will induce me, and first sign of anything going wrong with him, and they're going to wheel me in for an emergency C-section. So they're seeing me twice a week, the high-risk people are, and then I see the other doctor once every other week. So they're watching him pretty closely on monitors and making sure he's practicing his breathing and that there's no signs of distress. I have been having some Preston Hicks at this point, where if I'm walking, I'll feel this contraction happen and baby boy will be forced down. And here's the crazy part. He's actually in the right position to be born. I think he wants out. The reason I believe that is because he's head down, facing my spine, and has not moved from that position for 2 weeks. And my guess is that he wants out because he's miserable in there. My body's toxic to him. He probably can tell that. At this stage, he's fully developed. He already has a brain. He kind of has probably instinctual thoughts, at this point. So Yeah, so that's pretty interesting development there. I am worried about him. I do want him out safely, but I also don't want him to be born too early, because it's also another problem. He can be born too early, and then he'll be in the NICU, and it'll just be a mess. So, 32 weeks. I got 5 more to go before B day is what I call it. Baby day, baby birthday, delivery day. So I call it B day. So I have X amount of time before B day, and until then I'm just taking it easy. I've actually stopped walking because the Braxton Hicks are getting to be a little bit ridiculous. They get kind of painful sometimes. Like, if it's a strong one, I gotta sit down because I have fibromyalgia, so like those can actually trigger labor, so I gotta be really careful so that I don't have one after the other you know what I mean? You don't want that to happen. So with those strong Braxton Hicks contractions, I've decided taking it easy is probably the best way to go. For me anyway. So that's happening. I do have more pictures of baby boy. He really hasn't changed much. I'll probably update you guys on all of his sonograms later. But I don't really feel up to it at this point. I've been having a lot of stomach pain, nausea, metallic taste in my mouth. I don't know if that's just GERD or my stomach or the cholestasis or both. I can't decide. But I do have pain that radiates from the middle of my stomach over to the right side, and that's concerning. I did go to the hospital recently because I couldn't eat much of anything. It hurt to eat. I couldn't understand why I was so miserable and I couldn't consume food. I didn't know if it was the new medicine I was on or if it was just the condition progressing or what it was. So I just went to the doctor to have a checkup to make sure everything was okay. And what do you know? Baby boy's fine. But me, I'm absolutely miserable. So I wasn't drinking enough water, became very dehydrated. Long story short, they had to try and get a vein like 7 different times. They poked me 7 times with this needle trying to find a good vein, twice in each hand, 3 times in my arms, and the only one that held was the one in my hand. They couldn't even draw blood from me because they'd stick something in and blood wouldn't come out because of how dehydrated I was. So I'm glad I went for fluids, if nothing else. They gave me some medicine for my nausea and for my vomiting, and that was great. I shouldn't, and you know, it is kind of weird that I'm nauseous now, and I didn't suffer any nausea throughout my 2nd trimester, so very strange. And I have a food aversion to all food because if you eat, you feel pain, you don't like it. I'm thinking I'm having a gastritis relapse. Personally, because I felt this way before when I had gastritis really bad a few years ago. So I had like 2 recurrences of that when I wasn't pregnant. So the idea that I would get gastritis while pregnant makes a little bit of sense to me. But in the meantime, I'm eating small meals, tiny little portion cupped food items, just trying to snack. I'm still trying to consume something, anything, because I know baby boy needs the nutrition. But since solids seem to be a big problem for me, I've changed to a liquid diet, like soups or the occasional Glucerna health drink, so that he gets all of his vitamins and minerals from somewhere. You know, I just can't not eat anything or not consume anything of any value, because if I did that, he wouldn't gain any weight and he wouldn't be ready to come out. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about being induced. I know that most inductions, or at least a percentage of them, either fail, go wrong, or lead to you having to have a C-section. Problem is, even if they don't do an emergency C-section, due to him freaking out, there's a possibility of me hemorrhaging during labor, and them having to go in anyway to try and stop or stunt the bleeding. If I start to hemorrhage real bad and they can't keep up with the fixing of the uterus, then they will remove it. So here's hoping that don't happen. I kind of want to stay intact if I can, but you know, sometimes because of people's genetic disorders, it might not be in the cards for me. We'll just have to see how it goes. Cross our fingers. Hope I don't start hemorrhaging. Hope everything goes well. Hope that he's okay. And definitely hope that I start feeling better after he's out. So that I can be a productive mommy. But yeah, I'm very excited to be able to meet him, and a little bit scared to have the induction. And I was told that they want me to have an epidural, even though I don't want one, and it scares the living heck out of me to get one. I need one in case I do start hemorrhaging. They can immediately take me back and get me fixed up. So it would spend less time trying to knock me out. And it would be safer for a little man, because if they knock you out with the other type of anesthetic through the, like if they knocked you out with the injections to put you to sleep so they can do the surgery to get baby boy out and stunt the bleeding and all that, those drugs are really hard on newborns, and can actually make them not respond well when they go topside. So seeing as how those drugs are more harmful for him, I will go ahead with the epidural, so that, if I need to go into the back for any reason, I'm already set up to do that, which means I'll probably have an IV, I won't be able to move, it'll be very claustrophobic and very scary, I won't be able to use my legs for a while, and even if I come out intact, I was told that I have to be super careful for X amount of time, because unlike most people who would heal within 6 weeks, it might take me longer to heal because of my Ehlers-Danlos. So we just have to monitor everything. Hopefully it all goes well. But I do have places on my body that, like just cuts even, take forever to go away. And tears, if I tear any muscles or ligaments, those don't really heal well. I just have injury on top of injury that never heals, and so I'm in constant pain already anyway. So the idea of this going awry and me having to heal internally, kind of not really looking forward to that. I think that it would take maybe even half a year to be perfectly healed. I'm just being frank, because it took, for example, I had a hyperextension on my right ankle, right? The hyperextension, normal people would have been over it within not even half a year, with therapy. With me, I was in a boot for 2 years, and I had to have therapy, extensive therapy, to get my foot working again. It took forever for that thing to heal, and it was constantly swollen, and so I was in a boot for 2 years. It was an overextended period of healing. So I still have injuries that aren't healed today, and that's just how it's going to be. But yeah, so a little worried for me and him, really. Mostly him, because he means more to me than even myself at this point. So I just let them know that, if you have to take the uterus, do it. I would rather be alive than dead. So they know my blood type. We're prepared for anything that might go wrong, and we're prepared for if everything goes right. So it'll be great. Hopefully everything does go right. I want to have at least a vaginal birth, if nothing else, and to have a safe one, a safe birth. So here's hoping that it all goes well, that I react well to the induction, that all positive things happen, and the baby boy comes out topside well. He's really good right now. They're not concerned about him at this moment, but because I do have the choleostasis, we got to really watch it. So here's hoping. I'm supposed to go to court on the 11th of September, but seeing as how I have all these doctor appointments, I don't know if it's feasible that I can make it or not. We'll just have to play that by ear. But because I'm so high risk of literally going into labor at any minute, I'm just taking it easy. So if push comes to shove, I'll just have to tell him I can't make it to the courtroom, and that I got an appointment, a sonogram appointment, or emergency sonogram with my doctor on that day. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. But hey, I gotta look after my little man. He's he means everything, and he's adorable, and he looks a little like me in the womb, so I can't wait for him to come out and to be safe. So, but yep, so that's everything that's been going on within the past X amount of weeks, why I haven't really given an update. Little man has hair now, and he's getting his little eyelashes going, and he's forming well, and he's basically already fully formed. He's just waiting to gain enough weight and to gain enough strength in his chest muscles to breathe well and effectively when he comes out. So, just looking forward to that. Alrighty, well, I'm just going to leave that as a short update. I don't really feel the best. I want to go back and lay down some more and give him time to rest too. He's had a busy day at the doctor's. We had one doctor's visit back to back, so it's going to be harder for me to give updates because of all the visits to the doctors and back and forth and blood work and the constant bombardment that is the medical field with monitoring, the situation as we go. But yeah, so I'm just kind of tired and gonna attempt to sleep. I got at least 6 hours last night, which is fantastic. I'm still itchy, as you can tell, just not as bad as I was. Before, I was so itchy I couldn't even hold my phone because I was too busy scratching everywhere to really be able to make any kind of film or to even concentrate enough to make an update video. So this is just the update video for baby boy, and he'll be here September, likely September 31st, I believe, is whenever I'm 37 weeks. We'll just have to pick a day and go and have our little man. So, alrighty. Well, remember, when you view, peace, love, unity, and respect. And be sure to drop your kind comments below, words of encouragement, anything you can really do to pep me up, because at this point I'm kind of freaking out. Not gonna lie. So, we're just gonna have to see how it all goes, and pray it all goes well. Because me and him both are gonna have a wild ride during this whole mess. So, yep. And in the meantime, I'll keep taking my medicine as I am supposed to. Alrighty. Well, before I let this go and close and everything, I forgot to mention that the medicine I'm on, I was on 300 milligrams like every 6 hours, which is 1,200 micrograms or milligrams of the medication that I'm supposed to be taking to help with my symptoms. And my insurance wouldn't cover it for whatever reason. Didn't tell my doctor that. Finally, they're like, "Oh, we can't cover it." And they're like, "Oh, look, there's a capsule that you do cover." It's not, it's a tablet. It's like a 500 milligram tablet. It cuts my dose by like 200 micrograms, but I also don't want to take too much medicine, if that makes any sense. So I have to take it as it's prescribed on the bottle, which is only twice a day, but it only equals out to being 1,000, not 1,200, the level I was on. So that's been a little messed with, so I might regress to being really itchy and uncomfortable within the next few days, but we'll have to see and hope that the medicine works, and if not, I don't know what else to do. We'll just have to play it by ear. But, like I said, it only helps the symptom. It doesn't get rid of the problem. So, problem being, it's still in my bloodstream. And it just helps alleviate the problem, the itchiness a little bit. But that's why we're giving birth early, isn't it? So, anyway, so that's the closing. So remember, when you view, peace, love, unity, and respect, and drop your comments below. And that's it. All right. Talk to you guys later.